And we are live. Hello, one and all, and welcome to my live review for tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw. We're going to take a look and break down everything that took place on the December 12th, 2016 edition of Raw. This was, of course, the go-home edition for Raw. The upcoming Roadblock pay-per-view is airing live this Sunday from good old Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and you know that your boy Daniel Gaza will be in attendance at Roadblock. And I got pretty good tickets. It's going to be in section 110, so I look forward to going to a WWE pay-per-view. Haven't been to one since the Royal Rumble 2014 in Pittsburgh, so hopefully WWE gives us a good show. But let's talk about what took place tonight on Raw. Tonight on Raw, overall, for the most part, I did enjoy this show. Not everything was great, as it is with these 3-hour shows. But for the most part, I liked what we got on this show. I thought there was a solid enough build for Roadblock. We had the announcement of several more matches being added to the card. 2 really good tag team championship triple threat matches. And just to me, I thought it was a solid effort from WWE. Minus last week, I really enjoyed Raw post Survivor Series. I felt like the shows overall have improved. They've really been able to more so utilize the 3 hours to their advantage. So compared to what we were seeing, from August, September, October, even the early part of November, I thought Raw has definitely finally started to pick up. Is it perfect? No, but I'm able to get enough out of the show where I'm able to, remain positive. So that's what I'm going to do here in this live review. Try and mostly focus on the positives. So if you're watching live tonight, guys, I want to say thank you. Remember, you can leave your comments here in the live chat and let me know what you thought of Raw. And, of course, be sure to take part in my Raw Twitter poll. I have it posted on my Twitter channel, or Twitter account, excuse me. So with all that out of the way, let's get into reviewing Monday Night Raw. So I liked how we actually kicked things off with shocking. We actually kicked things off with a wrestling match. About time. Usually, we have a long, drawn-out 20-minute promo. Tonight, we only had a 5-minute promo. New Day came out. They talked about how they wanted to break Demolition's title reign as longest-reigning tag team champions. And, of course, we had what I thought was a pretty good triple threat match between New Day defending their titles against Cesaro and Sheamus versus Anderson and Gallows. And the star of this match to me was Cesaro. I loved what the Swiss Superman did in this match. Just the way he was flying around the ring. He was delivering uppercuts, stomping on people, going up to the top rope, just demonstrating, what an incredible athlete this man is. And I really thought, maybe Sheamus and Cesaro, they might just have New Day's number tonight in this match. It did come down to Cesaro and Sheamus. They hit the heart attack bro kick, and eventually Kofi was able to hit Trouble in Paradise. And once again, New Day, using nefarious tactics, Big E holds Cesaro from being able to get into the ring to save Sheamus from being pinned. New Day retain. Afterwards, they go into the back and have a big old bowl of booty-os. The only way that New Day is going to celebrate, becoming the longest-reigning tag team champions is with a booty-os party. They had wine, and they were celebrating and going nuts. And before you know it, they were chanting New Day rocks. They have the wine bottles in their hands. They spray wine everywhere. It goes all over Stephanie McMahon. She becomes livid, upset. Of course, Stephanie, she has to ruin everything. She takes the fun, the life out of the party. So this would eventually lead later on in the night to the announcement of another triple threat match. The New Day would defend their titles against Jericho and Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. So, I like the fact that it created intrigue, suspense, tune back in for that main event, whether we knew or not if New Day was going to drop their tag team championships. So, of course, we'll talk about what went down later on in the main event. We eventually had Braun Strowman beat the piss out of Curtis Axel. He hit a really sick-looking, wicked wheelbarrow flapjack. He just dropped Axel like a ton of bricks. And then Byron Saxton, I thought for sure Braun Strowman was just going to go into the ring and wipe the floor with Byron. But Byron asks Strowman, do you want to face Sami Zayn? What do you think about what Sami Zayn has been saying about you on Twitter? And Strowman says he's just another annoyance and that Foley is protecting Sami Zayn. And speaking of Sami Zayn, after this, we had Sami Zayn confronting Mick Foley in the back. And Foley said, Sami, I can't give you the match. I cannot give you this match against Braun Strowman. I know what's going to happen if you go in the ring against Braun Strowman. You're pretty much going to get the floor wiped with you. And Foley said, well, if you don't want the match against Braun Strowman, maybe you should go somewhere else. And maybe I'll call up Daniel Bryan and we'll set up a potential trade for SmackDown. And when I heard that, I'm like, oh, geez, Sami Zayn on SmackDown? I'd love to see it. There's so many just untapped potential feuds that I would love to see if Sami Zayn would ever make the trade to SmackDown. I just rattled off a few. Sami Zayn versus Dean Ambrose. Sami Zayn versus John Cena. Sami Zayn versus Bray Wyatt. AJ Styles. You get the drift. But we would eventually follow up on this later on in the night. So we'll get back to what transpired between Mick Foley and Sami Zayn. But I like the hook that they set here. It made you wonder, is Mick Foley actually going to trade Sami Zayn from Raw to SmackDown? So we had Daivari versus Lince Dorado. Match didn't really get going too much. The gentleman, Jack Gallagher, came down to the ringside. And I like what Gallagher had to say here. He said that since he is an extraordinary gentleman, he will tell us exactly when he is going to interfere in the match. And he comes down. Daivari attacks Gallagher. Gallagher is able to headbutt Daivari, and then he drop kicks him over the top rope. So for once, we're finally getting a story being told between two cruiserweights. I know it's shocking. Don't usually see that happen too often here with the cruiserweight division here on Raw. But I like what they did here with Jack Gallagher. Continues the story between him and Daivari, and I'm sure if you watch 205 Live, you'll see that transpire on that show. So, huge fan of Jack Gallagher. He really impressed me in the CWC. One of the most unique, offensive arsenals that I've seen to date. Just the way that he's able to get out of every type of move that everyone seems to keep the guy in. He just finds a way out of it. So I look forward to seeing where they go here with Jack Gallagher. We then, after this, had the Rollins report with special guest Kevin Owens. And I like the fact that Rollins, came down. He invited Owens down to the ring. Owens didn't want to go there. And similar to how Samoa Joe had his own contract signing table on NXT, Owens set up his own chair to sit down on the entrance ramp. So Rollins and Jericho, they go back and forth. They pretty much talk about, how was your friendship with Chris Jericho? Seth Rollins just wants to know. And eventually this would lead to Chris Jericho coming out. And Jericho says, Rollins, I'm going to do it. I'm going to put you on it. I'm going to put you on, wait for it, the disabled list. Jericho, I thought for sure that tonight was going to be the night that Seth Rollins got put on the list of Jericho, because you knew it was going to happen. But Jericho with the swerve said he was going to put Rollins on this disabled list. And eventually Owens and Jericho come down to ringside. They begin double teaming, beating down Rollins. And eventually Roman Reigns would come down, hit the ring to make the save. And that was where we would eventually have the announcement for the Triple Threat Tag Team title match later on in the night. Not bad stuff here, further playing up the suspense of when the inevitable split is coming between Jericho, and I can't wait to see that happen. Whether that leads to a match at the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania, it is one of the few long-term storylines that are actually playing out on Raw that I look forward to seeing when it goes down. It should be good. After this, we had more cruiserweight action. It was TJ Perkins versus the Brian Kendrick. Decent match. Crowd was dead for most of it. But before we talk about the match itself, what I like is the announcement of triple threat match at Roadblock. It will be Rich Swann defending his Cruiserweight Championship against both the Brian Kendrick and TJ Perkins. And I'm throwing it out there right now. TJ Perkins as a babyface, he ain't really doing it for me. I mean, he's just kind of, there, just kind of bland and boring, good wrestler, but I feel now would be the time for him to turn heel. And it was funny because Brian Kendrick, before the match, mentioned that, well, Rich Swann, you better watch out because TJ Perkins might just stab you in the back. So a little bit of foreshadowing there. But I feel now it would be the time for TJ Perkins to turn heel. Guys, if you're watching live, let me know. What do you think? Is it time for TJ Perkins to turn heel? Because I certainly think so. It would certainly just make him the cocky, arrogant prick, and just a little D-bag that, you just want to get your hands on. But I'd like to see what they could do with him as a heel. Because, right now, he's just really going nowhere as a babyface. We had momentum coming out of the CWC, but that was pretty much lost in the way that the Cruiserweight division has been booked here on Monday Night Raw. But getting to the match itself, decent match. Like I said, could be better. The crowd really didn't care too much about this match at all. Kendrick hit sliced bread number 2 for the win. So I did find it interesting that Perkins got another loss here. So maybe loss after loss after loss. Could we potentially see a long-term storyline, being told about Perkins losing. He snaps, he's had it, and he turns heel. Could be something to watch for. I don't know if they're going down that path, but something to keep an eye out for. We had Alicia Fox versus Bayley. Bayley won with a belly-to-belly suplex, and that's pretty much all she wrote here. And I believe this is Bayley's 5th win in a row on Raw. So while I'm disappointed in the fact that Bayley is directionless, excuse me, she is winning. So that is at least a positive that I have to pull out of this. But I would like to see Bayley enter into a feud with, Emelina, who's supposed to debut tonight, but come on, she didn't. And WWE, shame on you for doing that. You said she was going to debut tonight, and you didn't deliver. So made us look like fools. But I think a Bayley and Emelina feud would be good, or a Bayley and Nia Jax feud. Give Bayley just something to do, other than just have matches. She's better than that, and she does deserve better than that. We had an in-ring segment with Rusev and Lana that they were going to reveal what went behind closed doors. And when I heard this, I thought, oh, my God. Excuse me. Are they really going to go there? Apologize for that. Are they really going to go there? Are we really going to see Rusev and Lana go all the way on a PG show? Well, that's not exactly what happened. Rusev and Lana pretty much played the beatdown angle, excuse me, of Rusev beating down, excuse me. I apologize for those listening live. As you can tell, I'm recovering from a cold, so might be a lot of coughing in this review, but I'm going to get through this review. But Rusev and Lana, they made you believe that we were going to see something more than we actually got, when in actuality, they just replayed the footage of Rusev beating down Enzo. Eventually, Cass would hit the ring. Him and Rusev would have a nice little back-and-forth brawl, and Rusev would scurry away. Man. So we had the announcement of Rusev and Big Cass being set for the pre-show at Roadblock. And I was disappointed to see that, for the amount of build that this feud has been getting. I've been enjoying, what they've been doing with Rusev, Enzo, and Big Cass. To see the match being added to the pre-show, it's like, excuse me. It's like, well, I would have rather seen it on the main card, but it is what it is. We then had our main event of the evening. Really good main event match. It was the New Day defending the Tag Team Championships for the second time in one night versus Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins versus Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens. Really good match here. Started off slow, but eventually it picked up towards the end of it. Just a lot of really good near falls in this match where I thought at times maybe Jericho's going to win it. Reigns might have it here. Xavier, I thought he might pin Reigns at one point in this match. There was a really nice Tower of Doom suplex spot where everybody, went flying throughout the ring. So that was definitely probably the spot of the match for me right here. But Jericho had Xavier Woods locked in the walls of Jericho, and I thought, oh shit, Woods has got to tap out here. But Woods is able to reverse, and Owens whipped Woods into the ropes, and he hit up with the pop-up code breaker, near fall there. We're going back and forth, and eventually Rollins hit the running knee on Kevin Owens, which sent him out of the ring. That led to some miscommunication between Jericho and Owens, and Big E was able to pull Rollins out of the ring once again. New Day utilizing those outside ring tactics, and Woods is able to roll over on the fallen Chris Jericho for the 3 count. New Day retains. Afterwards, Owens is trying to explain to Jericho exactly what happened in the ring, and Jericho looks like he doesn't want to have any of it at all. Owens turns around, eats a spear from Reigns, and that's how we go off the air for Raw. So overall, guys, tonight I did enjoy Raw for the most part, and if I had to give a grade for tonight's episode of Raw, I would give it a B. A solid B show for tonight. So that is it for my live Raw review, guys, including my cough. I apologize for that. Hope to be feeling better tomorrow for my SmackDown review. But I want to say thank you all for watching this live review. Remember to leave your comments down below in the comments section, and I will, of course, respond to those accordingly. Let me know what you thought of Raw. Did you like it? Didn't like it? What have you. So that is it, guys. Thank you once again for joining me. I look forward to being back up here for my SmackDown Live review tomorrow night. So that is it, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care and have a great rest of your night.